Hey guys, there's SoftTech here, and today we're going to be going over my EDC, what I carry with me 99% of the time every day. So as you guys are probably aware, everybody's EDC is a little different, though there are common themes that usually feature like a firearm, a knife, and those are usually the most common things, phones and whatnot. But EDCs are usually tailored to somebody's specific job or hobbies and whatnot. I have a friend who is a soon-to-be engineer for NASA, and his EDC is very different from mine. Though, like I said, we both carry guns, we both carry knives. The little accessories off the side are usually a little different. So let's just jump right into it. The very first thing we'll go over is my phone. I carry an iPhone 8. It's a 256 gigabyte model. It's the black and space gray model as well. I thoroughly enjoy the phone. I know there's not a whole lot of Apple fans out there on the internet, but I do enjoy my phone. Most of my life is built on Apple. So I've got an iPad and I've got an iPhone, and so a lot of everything that I do, school, work-wise, is on my Apple devices. So it's going to be a hard switch, but I do see myself switching sometime in the future to a different manufacturer of phone, probably Samsung. But yeah, my iPhone's worked great for me. I record all my YouTube videos on it, and I've never had any complaints really for the most part. The next thing we'll go over is my concealed carry weapon, and I carry a Glock 43X. Always check and make sure there's no round in the chamber. And this thing has just really impressed me. A while back when I was looking into carrying a firearm around, I had a couple of requirements. I wanted something easy to carry, both concealed and in my hands if I ever had to pull it out and use it in public. And then in addition to that, I wanted it to be single stack, makes it easy to conceal, and I wanted something extremely reliable. And so Glock fits the extremely reliable. They have just phenomenal reliability reputation. So Glock was what I was looking at. And then a single stack or something easy to conceal carry, I was looking at the 19 or 26 because I didn't know that the 43X existed at the time. So I went to the gun store. I told them, hey, I like the 26, I like the 19, but both of them have these problems that I wish they didn't have. And he showed me the 43X, and I kind of fell in love with it instantly. 43X is single stack. It's 9mm, holds 10 rounds plus 1 in the chamber, and it completely fits in my hand. I have like maybe, a millimeter or two of space off the bottom of my hand that is actually usually taken up by the base of the mag. So it completely fits in my hand, both hands, and so it doesn't have that 26 or Glock 26 problem where half of your hand is off the gun and follow-up shots are really difficult. And it doesn't have that Glock 19 problem where it's just huge. And so Glock 43X, 9mm, super easy to conceal carry, 10 plus 1 in the chamber, reliable Glock performance, and a cool silver and black two-tone finish to it. You can get an all-black version. I personally really like the silver and black two-tone. It kind of just really breaks it up a lot, and just personal preference there. So yeah, Glock 43X, I shoot it about once every 2 to 3 weeks. I should shoot it more, but I don't. So yeah, I really like this handgun. Like I said, I carry 10 rounds in the mag, 1 in the chamber, 9mm. These are the ARX Interceptor or Inceptor rounds. I actually can't remember what they're called exactly. They are a 9mm polymer copper blend of a round, and they're supposed to have increased penetration. They supposedly fire at about 1,500 feet per second, which from what I understand about 9mm is pretty fast. And so yeah, I do think that you should probably carry rounds. Everything I've read says that if you really want the best performance and best chances of rendering a potential threat, just knocking the threat out, or subduing a potential threat, then you want to go with something that you can actually do that job with. Like I said, I know people that use range rounds for carry rounds. I don't honestly know enough about bullets to say whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I just personally went with something that I felt like could deter a threat or make a threat harmless really fast. And so yeah, I carry these ARX carry interceptor rounds. I do carry 2 magazines. I carry 1 in my backpack and 1 in my gun at all times. And thankfully, I've never ever had to pull it on anybody. Never have had to pull it out in public, and I never want to. But again, it's just in case. And with what's going on in the world and what can happen in this world, there is literally no reason to not be armed if you are a trained, responsible person. everyone should be armed if they are trained and responsible. Well, responsible and have the appropriate civilian training should carry. So yeah, that is my carry. And then the holster that I have that in at all times is my Kydex holster. Honestly, the shop just made this for me, and they told me, hey, we got these in the back. If you buy this gun today, we'll give you one of these for free. So I was like, all right, fine. And that's what I've had ever since. It's a cheap little holster, probably like $5-6 of overhead on it for them. You know, whatever, it works, and I can't really complain for what it is. Like I said, I wish it was a little bit nicer, but again, it's just a cheap little holster. I do want to get a holster like this, a Kydex holster, that has 2 retention points and an extra space for a magazine in the back so that it doesn't slide around on my belt. So the biggest problem with this one is that when I have it in my pants on my back, then this retention clip here will weigh right here and the gun will sway this way or that way. And I don't like the feeling that that is on my back with my weapon there. So I have to wear a heavier duty belt to prevent that, but I would prefer to wear my 511 tactical belt more frequently than this big heavy leather belt that I have currently on. So yeah, that's really the only improvement that I can offer over this right here. It's just a cheap little holster and it works fine, so there's no really big room to complain except where I just did. So next thing I carry is the Leatherman Raptor shears. Just a cool little device if you're in the medical field. I use them frequently on the ambulance, less frequently in the hospital. I use them to take patients' clothes off and to cut them off of their bodies whenever they're involved in trauma or whenever we're doing CPR in the field and we have a cardiac arrest or a respiratory arrest and we need to have the patient exposed so that we can see what's going on more thoroughly. When you're doing DCAT BTLS trauma assessment on patients, you need to cut off their clothes. It's just the fact of the assessment. And so the Raptors are really good for that. I mean, they're a pair of scissors. They work really well. They're very heavy duty on the blades, very sharp. I have cut myself once on them. Never done it since because they're just so sharp. So yeah, they're a really cool pair of shears. They have a seatbelt cutter right there, which is kind of a knick-knack because this can cut through a seatbelt just fine. It's got a windshield cracker on it, which I've only ever had to break a window one time with them. You know, it was for the patient. And then the other side of it is they had to have a ring cutter on the back there. I've never had to use the ring cutter. I do know of people that I work with who have used the ring cutter, and they said it worked flawlessly. Honestly, you should do everything you can to avoid using a ring cutter because rings are expensive usually. And there are several tricks that you should try before you just cut off a ring. So I've never had to use them. They fold up really nicely like this. You can get a holster for them, like a hard polymer holster that I have in my belt when I'm at work. And yeah, I really like the Leatherman Raptors. They're super cool. The only problem with them is that they're very difficult to clean, and which you should clean after every patient contact that you use them on. There is another type of shear. I believe it's the X Shear. I might be wrong on that. But apparently they're more highly recommended by a couple paramedics that I know. I've never had to use one, but I've never gotten to use one before, so I don't really know myself. But a lot of people prefer the X Shear over the Leatherman Raptors. I like the Leatherman Raptors for what they are now. I've never used the other shears that I was mentioning, but if I do switch, then I switch. So I use what's best. Next up is this J5 tactical mini flashlight. It's got 300 lumens of brightness to it, and it's got 3 settings. It's got a high beam setting, it's got a low beam setting, and then it's got a strobe light setting. You can extend out the front of the flashlight to get a more spotlight effect, or you can pull it all the way back to get a more broad light effect. Just a cheap little flashlight. I've dropped it a couple times. It's always worked fine. I've never cracked the lens on it. I use it when we're on scene and it's just the middle of the night and I need to see more what's going on. I've used it in the hospital before for going in a patient's room in the middle of the night when they're asleep, just checking chest tube output, urine output, just so I don't have to turn all the lights on. Yeah, cheap little flashlight that works great. You can get it on Amazon for like 14 bucks. Next thing I carry on me is a North American Rescue cat tourniquet. Everyone that carries a firearm and is serious about it should carry a tourniquet, and only TCCC recommended tourniquets, or tourniquets that you know work well. And you should only carry the unrecommended tourniquets if you know how to test tourniquets and that you know they work well. So the North American Rescue tourniquet is a well-recommended tourniquet. It's a battle-hardened tourniquet. It's what we use on the ambulance. and they're just great tourniquets. Like I said, anyone who is serious about carrying a firearm should also carry a tourniquet with them, just in case the person that the loved one that you're defending, or the person in public that you're trying to defend, or even yourself, if you get shot or any of these people around you get shot, not by you but by a victim or by a aggressor, then you can use this to stop bleeding. People die in minutes from arterial and venous bleeds, and a tourniquet can stop both of those in a matter of seconds. I do know that this tourniquet works well. We have several ultrasounds where I work in the hospital, and I've used those ultrasounds to test ulnar, radial, and antecubital, brachial, arterial pulses. And so I've strapped this way down tight on my upper arm, put the ultrasound here, no pulse, here no pulse, and here no pulse. So I know it works well. I know it has low occlusion pressures, which helps out with pain management for patients. And yeah, anybody who's serious about carrying a firearm should carry a good TCCC recommended tourniquet. The rest of the stuff is really just simple stuff. I carry a set of headphones with me. If I'm in the middle of a mall and I'm waiting around for my fiance or something, I'll pop in a pair of headphones, whatever. It's simple. Carry a charger with me. I carry a external battery with me that can charge my phone twice and my iPad once or so. It's the capacity is 10,000 milliamps. I can't remember the brand of this charger, but if you type in external battery into Google with a solar panel, or into Amazon, external solar power battery, then you'll get something like this. And yeah, this has always worked well for me. I've had it for about 1.5 years. Like I said, it charges my phone all the way up twice, and my iPad about 75% from dead. You can also just toss this on the console of your car and let the sunlight hit it, and it'll charge it on like a road trip. And so I've done that a couple times. It works awesome. It's also got a little cheap flashlight on it, but I mean, whatever, I'm not going to use that. So yeah, little cool battery that works well for me. Next thing, I carry a notebook with me, just a super simple notebook. Excuse me. Super simple flip notebook. I have 3 of these. I carry one on the ambulance, one in the hospital, and then one for personal carry. In the hospital, if I get a phone call, ICU is getting a patient, I'll write down all the information about them. We're getting a patient in from a helicopter flight, I'll write down the information on it. I always carry one on me there just in case I need to write down anything. A lot of people are big fans of just pulling out a notebook on their phone or on their iPad, but I mean, when you have gloves on and you just got done working with a bloody patient, or you just got done walking out of a room, you still got your gloves on, or you're just in an environment where you don't want to touch your phone, this is literally the next best thing. And so I know note taking is antiquated, I know it's old, but trust me, you want one of these if you do stuff that I do. So yeah, it makes another thing too is that I'll carry one on my ambulance, or the ambulance that I work on. And you know, when I got a patient, we're going to the hospital, you report to the ER that you're going to. And so I write out chief complaint, or I write out, you know, patient demographics, 87-year-old male, chief complaint, respiratory difficulty, for how long, and then I'll write down stuff like, you know, little history of what happened, found the patient, you know, leaned over on a chair, having difficulty breathing, wheezing sounds apparent on, you know, first assessment, patient improved with bronchodilators, got patient in an ambulance, vital signs stable, en route to the hospital. It will be at your facility in 10 minutes, like that kind of thing. And I write all that stuff down here so that when I call report, it's very professional, it's very concise. I don't give any excess information like I know a lot of people do. And I've walked into ERs and I've had doctors and nurses say, you know, did you call that report? Yeah, and they'll say that was a really good report. So it just helps you with professionalness too. So if you do stuff that I do, a notebook is just a great thing to have. I carry a little bit of petroleum jelly because my lips get chapped very frequently. I also carry a Sharpie and a good pen. The Sharpie is for writing on tourniquets and writing on patients. I know that sounds silly, but there have been a couple times when I'm working on the ambulance where if you have a very bad trauma patient, like just real bad situation, you got a couple tourniquets on them, you got all this stuff going on them, You get patients like that to the ER, you might get to the ER and forget to tell the nurse or doctor that, hey, I put a tourniquet on the left lower limb, and it's covered up by a sheet right now. And so they might miss that. That patient might lose their leg. One of the best things you can do is write on their chest or write on their shirt or whatever you have on them, TQ on whichever limb. And that helps providers remember to check, oh, tourniquet, oh, left lower limb, flip up the sheet and there's a tourniquet there. So though all providers that touch trauma patients should be doing full assessments, sometimes things are overlooked, and sometimes that results in patients having worse outcomes. So I carry a Sharpie on me just to facilitate patient care. The pen is just a simple pen. I actually got this for Christmas from a Secret Santa at work, and it's a cool little pen with a window breaker on it, and I've got like 10 other ink cartridges. So good little pen, writes well, kind of a little uncomfortable, but it's a steel or aluminum pen that is super heavy duty, so it's not about comfort there. Next thing I carry on me is a pair of hemostats. I'm a cardiac ICU nurse, and so we carry hemostats on us all the time to mess with IV lines. I carry hemostats on me. They're just an extremely cool and useful tool, so I carry these on me, and these are Dr. Slick hemostats. They're actually designed for fishing, like getting your hook out of a fish's, well, I just said fishes, out of a fish's mouth. And so, yeah, but they make a really great medical hemostat as well. Next thing I carry on me is just a super simple knife. It's like a gas station knife, honestly. I need to buy a nicer knife, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet. So that's one of my soon-to-be purchases, I guess you could say. Last small little bit of things that I carry on me, simple wallet. It's nothing like a super slim, cool tactical wallet. It's just a basic wallet that my fiance got me a while back. Last thing, small thing, is my keys, my lanyard. I drive a Hyundai Veloster, she drives a Hyundai Tucson. And so I carry both the fobs on there, apartment keys, house keys, and then I also carry a Camelback Shoot water bottle. Everyone should carry a water bottle on them or some way to hydrate because hydration is super important. You would be surprised at the amount of people that would benefit from just drinking more water. People have strokes because they don't drink enough water. So drink water, it's good for you. Another little small thing that I carry on me is a pair of Oakley sunglasses. I really like Oakley. I get a discount for being a first responder, so I use that discount to my fullest advantage, which includes the sunglasses. I like sunglasses. The last thing on the agenda is my backpack that I carry all this stuff in. This backpack has a couple pouches. It's got a front pouch here that I carry a lot of the smaller things in. My magazine fits right into one of those small elastic bands in there, so I carry my extra magazine in that. It's got small pouches in there, all kinds of little stuff in there. It's just a simple backpack, really, made by One Tigress. And then the main chamber has 3 compartments. It's got a non-elastic one here, an elastic one on the back with a little latch there, and then the main compartment is just completely empty there. So I carry my water bottle, my firearm on me, my tourniquet in the bag, my Leatherman shears in there as well, the flashlight in there. All this stuff fits either on me or in that bag very comfortably. I don't feel overweighted, I don't feel cramped, I don't feel kind of crowded. Everything fits really well and works really well for what I needed to do. So yeah, there's my everyday carry. I hope you guys enjoyed that whole breakdown in this video in general. I know it's not something that I do normally, but it's something that I've been wanting to do for a while now. So yeah, if you guys have any suggestions of what you think I should change and swap out, I know some of the stuff isn't the highest quality, particularly the headphones, particularly the wallet, stuff like that isn't the highest of quality items for everyday carry, but it's kind of what I have and it's what works. So if you have a suggestion for change, just pop it in the comments, leave a link to the product, and I'll check it out. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.